All right, so first today is going to be quite different. Today, we want to take much more feedback. So you want to head right into the chat and you want to share your feedback, what's been your feedback from our live setup sections. Are there improvements we can do? Of course, in Tafabot, we're already looking for ways to make this as seamless as possible, as automated, as easy as possible. And we also want to hear from the community. So if you have some thoughts, some feedback, has this been helpful? How can we make it better for you to help you better? You want to send that right into the Zoom chat. Then another thing to note is that by tomorrow, we'll be launching a separate Tafabot channel that is going to be specifically for the Zoom setup that we talk about every day. So when the setup are done or when their new setup is going to go straight into that channel. So you want to look out for that channel and you want to join in right away when we publish that. So we'll no longer be sending all of the trade setup in our main official channel because we don't want our users to miss announcement when we make those for setup. So setup is going to be moved into its own channel. And you'll be able to chat on that channel. So you really want to be part of that. So before we jump into the trade for today, there are a few things I want to review. First is those who are currently in trades that we've done before. I've received some requests from users on that, that there are users who are still in some trades which we've executed before. And the problem with that is most users who don't join the live section, they go to the Telegram and then they see the setup that was possibly posted on Monday, and then they try to take those setup on a different day. Now, it's important to note, and we've said it over again, that why we do the live setup is the market is ever changing, and we do a trading pattern that is called trading in the zone, which simply means our trade are only effective when they are within our setup zone. So if it goes outside those zones, those trades are invalid. So most times when we create those setup, few hours into those setup, most of those trades are already invalid because they have already started in the zone. So you always want to take the trade at the time the trades are sent. You don't want to take it one day later, they'll probably not be valid. So for such users, I reckon there are users that are still in the ZEM trade. That is one. The ZEM setup that we did right back since about last Friday and on Monday, and they're still in such setup. So if you're on ZEM, we're going to look through that first. So that's the first thing. Let's go through ZEM for users who are still currently in the ZEM setup. So this was our ZEM setup, which we traded previously. First, our setup was on long, and we took over 25% profit from that, and the setup invalidated, and we switched our setup to a short, and we also took profit from that. Now, some persons are still on the long, which we're done with days ago. So if you're on the long, and I believe you're still using the same structure of setup, and this is the structure, we were tracking a ZEM setup for 12% drawdown and a 25% drawdown. So if you're still in those trades, you really don't need to do anything, but you don't want to take concluded trade after this. So what you need to do is go right into your Tafabot app. So I'm going to do that over here. You want to make sure you're doing that right away. So go right into the Tafabot app, go to your bots, search for your ZEM setup. For every other users, it's probably closed, just like mine. So you see ZEM over here. It's stopped already because it's done. So you want to edit the setup. If you're still there, you want to change the take profit to 1, and you want to change the strategy period to 1. So what that means is your trade is still fine, it's still within the zone. So if you're following the setup, you're still okay. Even if a lot of your entries are in the market, ZEN is still within our zone. It hasn't broken out of our zone yet. This is the first zone. And so that is not broken yet. The setup is still fine because you're already in it. It's still totally fine. So since it's still in the zone, you only want to update those two parameters in your Tafabot app. Now, what this means is by the time XEN either hits our final zone here and starts to retrace back, your robot will only be looking to take the lowest possible profit and shuts down that trade, and it will not have to open further trade. So that is one thing you want to do for those that are still in that XEN trade to solve that. So there's no need to panic on that, but you want to ensure next time you don't follow a trade that is already concluded. The next set of person are those who are on LINA, and that is still a trade that we got in, and it did not get to our take profits and it reversed. So we want to look at LINA. I personally am still on LINA. So this is LINA over here. If you're on LINA trade just like I am, so this is our fourth zone of LINA. LINA is just touching the very fourth zone. So that is still super amazing. And in LINA, we tracked the second zone, which is a 33%. Simply means if you're on this trade, your LINA is still super safe as far as you have that capital that's reallocated for LINA and you're using the same setup. So what we're still expecting is even if LINA breaks below the fourth zone, we still have the zone which we're tracking over here. All it's going to do for us is it's going to give us more entry into the market, and we'll be able to take much more profit out of the market. So if you're in those two trades, that is still all you need to do. You don't need to do any other setup. In fact, we're also going to be taking a trade on LINA today. Okay, so let's head straight into reviewing the trades we did yesterday. So first, yesterday we had a trade on FETs. If you took that trade, that is super amazing. This was our setup on FET yesterday, and we can see that our setup on FET closed at a 25% profit. So what we did was create a configuration. If you go right here into FET, so in our FET configuration, we said we want to take every 1% profit move in a 5S, giving us 5% take profit into 5 times, leading to a 25% take profit. And that's completely executed, and the bot shuts down by itself when that was done. So these are all of the trade for FET. So if you took that, that's amazing. FET trade is also done and concluded by itself. The next trade we also took yesterday was for XEN, and we were also shorting XEN yesterday. So if you took that trade also, pretty much the same thing happened with XEN. You can see over here, XEN kept taking those profits in 1% up to 5 times on a 5S leverage, and the bot closed by itself, ending the trade. So that is super amazing. If you go to your profit tab, you're going to find XEN, FET, XEN. You see all of those whole trade that closed, even the BTC trade. Yes, the BTC trade also concluded. You can see that over here. That's amazing. So we had FET, a lot of FET, a lot of XEN, and the last BTC trade closing up. So all of these trades are totally done with, and we want to move right into what are the trades we have for today. Now, don't forget, keep sending in your feedback into the chat. We're going to go through that shortly. As usual, first we try to determine what is the market doing. And from Monday, we've been expecting the market to push outside our zone, even with BTC. We can see that over here, and it's just been playing same within that zone. It's not breaking out. It's not breaking downward, it's not breaking upward. And we saw that that is happening due to the money flow in the market that is also within a money flow range, and that's totally fine, which changed the course of how we're doing our settings into a ranging setting rather than a full take profit setting. So we just take as little profit as much as we can get from the market. So that still stands, and we've not broken outside of that range, but we do expect to break out at some point in time. and that we can really not tell how long that is going to be. It could break out today, it could take throughout this week and just keep ranging. It could break out during the weekend. We really cannot tell that, and we still see the same thing happening. Yesterday we saw money leaving altcoins and we started shorting the market, and we can see also that happening over here in the altcoin dominance. We also saw the same with BTC, but we can see money flowing back into BTC. So today we also want to take the market upward. We shorted yesterday, took profits. The market has gone down. Now we want to long to take profits upward. Remember, we're doing this because we're still ranging. These were different from the settings we were having as at last week and the upper week before. So our setup are still pretty much going to be a ranging setup. So today is going to be pretty different how we call the setup. First, we want to create all of the setup at once, right? And then we head back into looking into them. And the reason for that is we've noticed that most users, why calling the setup really fast, are not able to fully follow it. By the time we're done and they're going to create the setup after the Zoom, they are getting like late entry. Their price entries are a little bit different from every other person, and that also affects the profit. So we want to make sure everyone in the Zoom take the setup as it is happening. So for today, you want to take that right away. Let's jump right into it. What are the trades that we're looking for today? So find that over here. Today we're looking for trades in GMT. We're looking for trade in LINA. Again, like I said, and we're looking for trade in YFI, Wi-Fi one. We're looking for trade in these three markets. And all of these trades are open for both spot, futures, and both spot and future. So if you're trading on spot Martingale, you can take this trade. If you're trading on futures Martingale, you can take this trade. Now there's something new which we added, which is the trade validity that you can find over here that tells you this trade is only valid up until this point, because this is when the setup was done, and the setup could be invalid after this point, which is why it's important to jump right in and take this trade right away. So 1 hour after our Zoom, it will not be advisable to jump into most of this market, as they must have moved away from the zone which we created it for. So first, we want to start with GMT. GMT, you want to go straight into your Tafabot Martingale calculator. You want to put in price movement 17, average movement as 3. You're going to be able to use up to $100 capital for this. So you have a minimum capital for $100. You'll be able to trade with that. And the strategy is long, which means also you are buying if you're trading the spot Martingale. Your maximum leverage is going to be 7, and your take profit ratio is going to be 1. Now, I would advise a lot of users with lower capitals, like $100, to move into futures. It pretty gives you more freedom to earn better amount of money than sports if you're trading with this low capital. Except you're using our bots like Smart Invest or Best Neuronet, and you can just set your $100 capital there and get the monthly target that Neuronet does of about 10 to 30%. If not, you always want to move to futures where you have better chance to earn more. So I'll be creating my own trade on futures. Our take profit ratio is 1. Simply means we're taking 7% profits at each time the market moves, and we're doing that in strategy period of 10 times. So we're looking for a 70% profits from the GMT trade today. So you want to head straight into setting that. I'm going to leave this in the screen. It's there, so you're seeing it and you're setting it up before we go into looking into discussions. So I'll open mine over here, and I'm also setting up. I'm going to create a GMT bot for me. You can be doing same for yourself. As we're speaking, I'll just be talking about how I create mine for users who are new and don't know how to create. So I create a bot, I give it a name. I like to call it setup. So I'm going to say it is GMT setup. And my exchange is Binance. You can use this on literally any exchange that you want. And the market is GMT. And I move to select. And my capital for GMT, today we're only doing 3 markets. I still have money into LINA already. Like you can see, I still have my trade on LINA. So that setup is already there. I won't have to recreate a LINA setup for today. So I want to put in more capital into GMT for me and YFI. So I'm going to be doing a $10,000 position capital long. Martingale type is normal. And the maximum leverage is 7. For my kind of capital, I go for a 5. You don't want to go over 7. So I use a 5S leverage. And I'm going to enter these details, the price movements and the average movements in my Martingale calculator. So I don't want to take this screen away from you. So I'll probably do that on my device over there. But for those who are joining for the first time, all you need to do is go to the Tafabot Martingale calculator. It's always in the chart over here. You want to put in 17 and 3. So for example, if I go over here now, guys, we did something new to make it really easy for you if you're using the Martingale calculator. So when you're setting in, we upgraded the calculator, as you can see in my screen. So it tells you you're trading on futures and you could change to spot. Now, there are setups that you're going to create with the calculator that will not work. So earlier, it will just give you the setup and then you go put it into your Tafabot app and maybe that setup doesn't work because your capital is not enough. Now it's going to tell you when that setup will not work. So let's take, for example, I try to do $100, 50 price movement, and let's say 2 average, and I calculate, it tells me $100 is not enough to cover up for this setup. You might consider increasing your current capital or use a lower price movement. So you don't create a setup that will not be effective. So if you switch that to future and do the same thing, depending on the leverage you try to take with the setup, it could tell you that it is valid based on those leverage. Because of your leverage, this setup will be able to work on futures as it won't work on spot. So you could change to futures and recalculate based on your leverage. So for me, I'm doing $10,000 position size, means I'm expecting 5S, a $50,000 trade size for that market. The average movement, leverage is 5S. The average, like we saw over here, we're tracking 17 price movements and 3 average. So if I calculate, it gives me my input as this. It gives me my input as this. So this is how it works. You want to do the same. I'm going to go straight back into the screen of the setup so you're seeing it and you want to create yours. For those who don't know, I put in the first entry amount over here. It gives you pretty much everything that you need to set up. Number of entry shows you over here as 5. Leverage is there. Entry configuration, it shows you over here. It already has almost that for mine. And the take profits is back to the other screen. So I'm just going to leave it over here. The take profit is 1. Relaxed. The strategy period is 10, 0.1, 0.1. I'm going to give this few minutes and be sure that everyone has created a setup. Once you create, you want to start your bot right away. So I'm going to search for GMT start. So GMT started right away. Okay, so you want to do that right away. I'm going to leave this screen here for a while. Jump into that right away. Let me know in the chat when most of you have already taken the setup. I want to make sure you take it right now so you don't miss out on the setup. And we can move to the other setup, then we go right back in. So if you really don't want to start your bot, you can just create the setup right away so you don't miss it out to say, okay, what are the setup? I missed the entry amount. What is the take profit? Like we get a lot of these questions when we're done with all of the setup. So you want to do that right away. For those in the chat, please, the calculator link, I'm just going to pull that right into the chat again, sent to everyone in the room. Okay, so you got the calculator link also. Someone said my Martingale says my calculator is not enough for that price movements. Remember, you want to increase your leverage like I explained. For me, I went on a 5S. You could possibly go for a 7S leverage and your capital will be fine. Every other question we're going to get right back at it. Back to the screen just to be sure a lot of you are already on this trade. So while we're waiting, I'll be talking again about those people who are on the XEN trade and on the LINA trade. We're going to talk about LINA next. For XEN, I already said XEN is still within our zone. You want to update your strategy in Tafabot app over here. You want to go straight into your Tafabot app, look for the XEN setup once again. You want to update the setup to say, take profit 1, strategy period 1 if your XEN is still running. So that's what you want to do right now. So set that up and your XEN will be fine. It doesn't matter if you already have a lot of entries into the market, it will be totally fine. So just to be sure, we've allowed a few minutes. I believe a lot of persons have taken this trade. Once again, price movement 17, average 3, minimum capital 100, strategy mode is long, maximum leverage is 7, take profit ratio is 1, risk is relaxed, strategy period is 10, re-entry condition is 0.1. I want to be sure that we all already got the setup. For $100 capital, is going to require you to do a 7S leverage. So when we create this configuration, we consider people with such capital, and we know what maximum leverage still has a low level of risk, and we'll be able to carry on for such trade configuration. So I want to believe we already got that, and we can jump right into the LINA trade. So for LINA, for those who are already on LINA, I'm going to show my screen. So my GMT is in. My LINA is still here. Remember, I told you guys, the best thing about the calculator is that it doesn't matter how much the market goes, as far as it's covered in your zone that we created and shared, then it's totally fine. And an example of that is this. If you move over to my LINA trade, you're gonna see that my LINA trade, just move over here. You're gonna see my start price for LINA trade started when LINA was at about 0.0113. And despite how much percentage LINA has done, right, almost 15% drop, and my entry price is 0.01, and the price is only away from my entry with about 3 to 4%, despite over a 14% drop. So that is something pretty good. So you want to ensure if you already have this trade, you really don't need to do any other setup. I have my first entry, second, third, fourth, fifth in already into LINA. If I go to my setup, I still have so much entry. So you understand why LINA trade shouldn't fear you. We already covered up for anything LINA can do. Okay. So you still see we only have just 4 entries, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why we still have up to 11 entries into LINA. So my hope always is that the market gives us more entry. So when you see this, the market gave you more entry, you should be excited about that. So for those who are not yet in LINA, we're going to review what is your LINA setup that you can jump right in. So this is a setup for LINA. Today, we're long in LINA still, but the minimum capital that LINA is going to require to handle such trade is going to be way over $300 for people who have that level of capital. Below that, you should not take LINA trade. You should take the GMT trade that we just called. There are still other trades which you're going to take. So for LINA, it's available for sports and futures. The price movement is 22. The average is 3.3. You want to put that right into the calculator. The minimum capital is going to require you to create such setup is going to be up to minimum of $300. The strategy is long. The mass leverage for LINA is 5. Please note that the take profit ratio is 1 and it is relaxed. We're looking for a 10% take profit, which is strategy 10, in a 10% take profit from LINA into 5 times. So that is going to give us a 50% profit on LINA. So you want to do that straight up into your LINA setup if you yet don't have a LINA setup. So jump right in. I'm going to give a few minutes to make sure you already have this setup right in. This is going to remain on your screen, so you have all the setup you need. While I go through the charts, someone said, can we join LINA with $120? I already stated that is on your screen. That is the minimum capital, except you want to go way above the leverage, the recommended leverage, then that is on you to accept the risks. And someone said, please on GMT, should my number of re-entry is 2 with $400, is that correct? That absolutely is 100% incorrect. Your number of re-entry cannot be 2 if you're following this setup. So this is the thing, you want to make sure you're following the setup to the very latter. You want to, if you edit or change even a 0.1 to 0.11, your setup is invalid. You will not get the same results that the setup is estimated to give. So if I go into LINA, a $400 capital, 17% and 3, so I'm going to do that, $400, 17, 3, leverage, let's say 5, and calculates your entry is 5, so it is impossible to have a re-entry of 2. Absolutely impossible. You're probably doing it wrongly. So you want to make sure you correct that. This person said, I'm not able to fully open that. Okay. $500 average movement 3. You want to check what is your leverage for this. Is this a spot setup? Please let me know. And what is your leverage for that? Like you saw, I used the 5S leverage, which is okay for you to also use. I keep getting the error of all feed required. I can't see where to enter the entries. For trader, $, when you go right into your Tafabot app and you edit, you're going to see in the next screen, when you click on next, you're going to see the entry configuration. So that's why it's telling you all feeds are required. Click on the entry configuration and you put in the entries that the calculator gave to you. So that's what you want to do right away. Someone said the capital is not enough for 17 movements. You want to go for, like I said, a 7S leverage for $100 capital. You want to go for a 7S leverage. Capital is not enough, same thing. You want to go for a 7S leverage. Someone said, I set up my bot 3 days now. No trade, try placing the API and it's not connected. Please reach out to support for this. Or if you're in any of the support group of any of the angel leaders, please reach out to that leader and he will guide you hands-on. If not, please reach out to the Tafabot support. Okay, calculator says capital is too low. That is something I just explained. Go for a 7S leverage if you're doing the GMT trade. And this live trading is really good. It has made a really good trade for the past few days. Thanks so much. I'm glad about that. My observation with this system is that if you don't have good capital, you will not get a good profit. $100 to $200 capital can only get a profit of $2 to $3 or less. I don't know your definition of profit, Niran, but in $100 capital and you make $2 to $3 per day, that is 3%. Every single day, that is super amazing profit. Consistently, you keep that up. In a month, you're going to be doing 90% profit. That is a whole lot of profit. Now, this is the thing which we've stated over and over again, is that users want to go the highest level of rates with low capital, are doing a 50S, a 20S leverage, and to be able to make, let's say $100 capital is now making like $50 every day. And one day they slaughter the whole capital because a risky structure is always going to meet a risky day, and you slaughter your whole capital. So you spend 1 or 2 weeks accumulating money to lose it in one day. That is not how a trader should trade. The goal of a trader is to accumulate money progressively and not a zigzag up and down movement. So like what we've been doing every day since we started this live call, every single day, profits keep increasing daily, 25%, it's growing. So if you're doing that, that is totally good. Okay, Zemtrade is still running. I already explained that several times what to do. Okay, for Zemtrade, I invested 100, profit was not up to 1. That would mean that only 1 entry got into your Zemtrade, and that is totally fine. Someone said the copy might be better. Now, there's a difference of trying to create a copy with a live trading is totally different, because all of the strategies changes every day. The market changes every day. So if we do make a copy, for example, we say, okay, you want to copy LINA, you're still going to go back to your bot every day and recopy for that new day. And one problem with that is if you're using $100 capital, there might not be a setup for $100 for the person you're copying. Let's say you're copying me and I'm trading with $10,000. You will need to have the same capital, which invalidates the copying process. But we're looking into copying to create a copy system for live trade that possibly might come up with our new app, but we're still studying into the effect of that. How can that be dynamic? Like there are several problems with that, which I just explained. Your capital is different from my capital. You cannot create capital for every single user. That will not be possible. So we're looking at the possible ways we can sort that out. Once we figure that out, we are going to have a copy system for live trading, but definitely is not going to be enough as much as you're taking all the trades that we are calling daily. Okay, there's so much other comments. I'm going to get back to that. So let's keep the chat for now. I believe everyone is done with the LINA trade. That was my purpose of going through the chart. And now we can head for our top trades for the day, which is YFI 1. This is one coin I love a lot. It's super volatile, super amazing coin to trade. If you remember YFI, you're going to notice when YFI was literally the first coin in the market cap to touch $100,000 when BTC was about $50,000, $60,000. And right now is that volatile that YFI is currently at. Let's go to the YFI charts. Super volatile markets, really interesting coin to trade. YFI is currently at $10,000 from 100. So really volatile. So let's head right into creating our YFI setup. So for YFI, we are able to do that on spots and on futures also. Our price movement is 17 and our average is 4. You'll be able to use $100 capital to trade YFI also on a 7S leverage. Strategy mode is long, means in spots, it means buy. Take profit ratio is 1. The risk preference is relaxed. So I'm going to leave this in the screen and you want to set it up. I'm going to be setting up my own YFI also. So I don't have a trade on YFI. I'm going to create a new bot. And I'm going to call it YFI setup on my exchange for Binance markets. I'm going to search YFI. Here is it. And I want to put in the same $10,000, $50,000 position side. I'm going to go long. Martingale is normal. And I need to calculate 17.4, head straight into the calculator, put in my capital, 17.4, my leverage is 5, and calculate. I have my setup over here. I'm just going to get my first entry and the other setup, and I head straight into showing you the screens again. Entry configuration, I have 4, and I have 8, I have 12, come over here, and I have 16 over here, 12, 8, and 4, save. Strategy period, let's head back into this. Strategy period is 10, have 10 over here, re-entry 0.1. So all of these also arranging market setup, all feed required, take profit 1. And my Wi-Fi bot is created, and I'm gonna start my right away. So you wanna set yours up also. I'm gonna leave the screen over here, and we're gonna jump right into the questions once more, why I leave you to keep setting up your Wi-Fi. Okay, so back to the setup again. Delano, you want to reach out to Tafabot support. They're going to help you hands-on to be able to connect if your bot is not connecting. All right. What's the update on Dodge setup yesterday? That's an important question. I really almost missed that. We said for Dodge setup yesterday that Dodge is a market in the largest level of range. Even when other market was bullish or bearish, Dodge wasn't. It has the largest level of ranging. So when we created Dodge, we said it's for a long term. If you have that trade like I have over here, Dodge has not moved 1 bit. The same entry is there. It's not going up. It's not going down. It's just static. It's not taking in more entry. That's a long-term trade. That trade is going to be there for a long term. If you don't want to keep your money in such a long-term trade, you might want to stop that out and go into other new trades. So when we created that, I said it was for a long term. We'll probably not edit the Dodge trade maybe for 1 week, 2 weeks. We'll keep seeing how the market of Dodge goes. So that is one trade you want to just let go. It's just there. It's just running for you. So I already have my Wi-Fi one into the market. I have GMT. My LINA is also there. So you can see my GMT is already racking in its profit, and also my Wi-Fi is already there. So I'm going to head back into the screen, making sure everyone take the setup as we're giving it while I go through the comments. Okay, this other person says $200 is not enough. 7x leverage is your answer. That's why the maximum leverage here is 7. We considered that already. Someone said, please, this live session is far better than copy. We're making better money. We are happy. People pay $100,000 to get fake signals. I am super glad that you see the value in our live call. That is really amazing. Before we head back right into checking more, we want to make sure you're following the Wi-Fi setup. Don't forget, we have GMT setup. It's still here if you've not taken it. The setup are right in front of you. We have LINA is right in front of you. We have Wi-Fi is right in front of you. Create all of the setup right away. And we're going to head back into seeing what the chart is saying. And then we'll head back to answer our questions, and that would be it. So please let me know if a majority of you have already taken the setup. I'm going to jump right into. Someone said, can I close the Dodge market? I'm not interested in the long setup. Yes, you can shut that down. For such kind of market, if you want Tafabot to close it, you could edit it from relax into conservative and put a 0.1 stop loss. Tafabot is going to shut down that trade right away and stop the bot. You want to stop the bot. Else, you want to go on your exchange, click on the trade to close after stopping your bot, so Tafabot doesn't reopen it back. So you want to go on Tafabot, either 2 options, create it to conservative. So Tafabot shuts down the trade for you, taking in consideration the amount that Doge is currently, or you want to stop the bot in Tafabot and go to your exchange and close the trade. That's amazing. So I'm going to head back into more setup. Someone said this live trading is amazing. It's changing our life. Making $100 is a good one. That is amazing. I'm going to head back into this. So let's hit into the chart. I believe everyone already has the setup done on this theory trade. If you've not, please take a screenshot right now. We are also going to post this screenshots in the Telegram channel. You want to take a screenshot of it so you don't have to ask later, what is the setup? Just screenshots on your phone, take a picture of it right away. You want to also share it with your friends. So we head right into the chart. So I'm going to give like 2 minutes for everyone to take a screenshot. For those who don't have the setup yet, take a screenshot of my screen in this setup. And we're going to head to look into the 3 charts for this market so you understand the trade psychology for it. So right into 3 minutes, we're going to head straight into the chart. Look at the chart and we answer the questions once more. So I believe everyone already got a screenshot. Please make sure you already have that. You already have a screenshot of this setup, so you can set it up yourself. And we head straight into what the chart is saying. All right, guys. So first, let's jump into GMT. Let's hit into GMT. What is GMT saying? Amazing. So this is our GMT setup for today. We have the first zone of GMT ranging at 9%, the second zone at 21, and the third zone at 39. We're long in GMT, so these are zones that we do expect GMT to drive into. Now, remember, we're taking only about 10 trades with GMT. That explains why we're covering up the whole 10 trade to cover up the first GMT movement that is running at 9.8. So our trade covers up the first movement. So even if GMT doesn't go above that entry, that's totally fine. That what if GMT drops down? So it's going to also drop down into our first zone here of 9%. So that is important to note. What if it drops down? It drops down, it's going to give us more entry into our first zone here. And when it kicks back just 1% above this zone over here, we are also going to be taking a lot of profit. So that is amazing. The second drawdown for GMT is the 70%, which is what we're covering for. Now, we are not seeing GMT reach out to the third zone because it's totally in a ranging frame. So if not, we would have been covering the third zone of 33%, which is the maximum low for GMT. But we are not seeing that happening in the next couple of days. The market is still ranging. There's no breakout yet. So we're covering this zone. And that is where if GMT keeps dropping, we're going to have a lot of money in. Okay. Next, we want to move into FYI. Now, FYI is our next setup. Now, first we have FYI at 10% movement. We then have the upward movement of FYI second zone at 18 and final zone at 39. Now, I reckon that FYI is very extremely volatile market. I did say that. So we're going in the upward movement and we're expecting FYI to break way above our first zone. That is our hope for FYI. But if it doesn't, the first drawdown for FYI is at 6.9%. So if that does happen, we're going to have more entry into the market. And the second is at 17%. Now, today also, we're not covering the largest zone because we're going to be keeping capital that we don't use in a market that is possibly never going there because they are all ranging. So we cover the second zone also, giving us more entry into FYI if that does happen. Then we also have our trade on LINA. LINA is already having a bounce on our zone. This is pretty amazing. Now, things to note, like I said, guys, is Our zone setup are pretty much the best. We've seen it from the day we started weeks ago. You see the market gets to our zone and reacts the way we expect it to react. So we see in our first zone, a bounce is already happening over here. So if you took the LINA setup, you're possibly running into profit already. If you took it today, if you didn't, you already have the setup like before. You see when we showed the setup earlier, it was at 23%, now it's at 18%. Please note, 18% simply means buy my 5S leverage. What this means is I am just about 2 to 3% in real term from the price. So when you see 18% is in reaction to a 5S leverage that I am doing. So if you're not on a leverage, this would be 2% for you. So head back here. So we're going to see this guy bounce over here, straight back into the top parts of our zone over here. And at this point, we are all going to be taking all our profits from LINA. Now, the profit is going to be really, really good. As you can see, in just a 2% drawdown, this is what is resulting to. So in our profit, we're going to be expecting like the best profit out from LINA trade. Now, when it does get here, all of our trade, including those who took trade today, would also have concluded, and that will be done. So by tomorrow, if that happens before tomorrow, we're going to check the new zone and see where is LINA moving to. So that's pretty each for the three markets that we have looked at also today. And I want to state something in the Martingale strategy. I've always said our strategy is zone-based. So when we say we are covering a zone, it doesn't matter what the markets do within the zone, as far as you're using the recommended leverage, as far as you're not over leveraging, you're using the capital, you have that capital that you specified for the bots to use. All you need to do is go to sleep. If the market is drawing down, you should be excited like I am, because you're getting more entries. So I've seen users who they say, okay, my bot just got in and is drawing down. That is the purpose of Martingale, is meant to draw down. When it goes up without drawing down, you make a lot of profit, but not as much as when you get a drawdown. So the goal is always hope for the market to give you a drawdown. That is the reason for the structure. Okay, so let's head back into the trade. Once more, for those who have not gotten the setup, here is it. Please take a screenshot right away before we head into looking through all of the questions from all of the users. Okay, you want to make sure you're doing that. All right. I'm going to share that screen and leave that screen open while I go into the charts, into the chart actually, to look through your response and your feedback. Please, someone said, what if the bot had taken 10 trades before getting to the 39 of GMT? Should I restart the bot? Nope, nope, nope. When the bot takes 10 trades, it's going to shut down. Please do not restart it. When we create the setup, it is in relation to the drawdown and the zone. At any point where the bot has done 10 trades, definitely is out of our zone. That trade is done, invalid. You don't want to restart the bots. You don't want to restart the bots ever again. Okay, someone said, God bless Stafford, that's amazing. Okay, someone said, what does leverage means? Okay, that's amazing. You're possibly new to futures. So in plain English, leverage allows you to go way above your capital. So if you have $100, you can say, if you have $100, you can say you want to do a 5S leverage that is going to give you 100%. I'm a little bit distracted, a little chat. That is going to give you $500 trades capital. So that just amplifies your capital, makes you more money, also amplifies your loss if the trade goes against you. But when we share the setup, we give you recommended leverage. Those are leverage that the trade will still be safe if you use those leverage. So you want to go ahead and do that. Someone said, when you say trade, do you mean when it buys and sells, that is counted as one trade? Correct. The strategy period means every time it takes a profit, not if it takes one trade. No, if it takes the trade and the trade is still on, it doesn't count until it takes profit from that trade. Then it counts as one trade. Okay. I'm going to go right into more questions. Okay. Someone said, I've taken my setup before even you did yours. I love the screen setup. It's fast and more easy. And that's amazing. I'm glad to hear that. Live trading is amazing. Another person said it's changing our lives. I'm super glad to hear that. Someone said, hello, everyone. I think Tafa needs to create a Telegram trading signal channel and provide us with the latest signal daily, if this is possible. And those signals that are updated should be deleted. That's amazing. I already talked about that. By tomorrow, we're going to have official Tafabot trade setup channel where we're going to post all the trades. You're going to chat over there and take those setup, and those setup comes with a timestamp telling you it is no longer valid after a particular time. That's amazing. There's so much question. I just try to take as much as I can. We're already out of time for today's meeting. Say this live trading setup has been the best the past few days. Thank you so much. I'm super glad to hear that. So many of you saying the trade setup has been the best thing that we introduced to Tafa. We are glad to hear that. That's pretty much a whole lot that is coming up. A new person, please, with $200 capital on FY, my number of re-entry is 4. Whatsoever the calculator gives you, if it gave you 4, then that is correct. So it's different based on your capital. If it gave you 4 in the calculator, then that is correct. Someone said trying to set up FYI, it says capital not enough, blah, blah, blah. It simply means you want to go to the maximum leverage for that setup for which is a 7S. So go for a 7S and your capital will be enough to go through that. So I believe that's going to be it for now. We're already out of time. That's amazing, Tafa. Let's go make some profit. Tomorrow, we're going to review how well this trade did. And tomorrow, we're also going to be launching the Signal Trade Setup group to ensure that you're up to date. You never miss a setup when we send it, and you are always making money. Someone said, are you concerned with the liquidation price for the leverage? When we create the setup, it is created and structured that even in those maximum drawdown, you have no business with liquidation whatsoever. So that is not totally a concern. Okay, so we always update you on that. The calculator is created in a way to consider the price of the assets, the liquidation level. That's why it gives you the best setup. If you alter that setup, then you're doing something different. If you're following that setup, you're fine. All right, Tafan, let's go make some money. See you all tomorrow. Cheers.